Yo, what's up with y'all, man? I hope you're doing good. If you're new and you're a fan of the NBA, subscribe to this channel. So let's get straight into it.
It's like it's Minute hijack 4, renegade, 24, number 8, Kobe shit fade away, ballin' since 11th grade, still in school, let them hate.
So we are currently in the midst of trade season, but this trade or idea isn't happening anytime soon. But what will come soon though, or wait, let's actually here are the Apply Pressure hoodies. How rude of me, excuse me, the brand new and improved Apply Pressure hoodies. This is exactly what I've been hinting towards these last few weeks, and it is time. You can now represent this channel across your chest, this brand, and also just a mentality. So if you want to keep your body warm, upgrade your swag, and also support one of your favorite creators on the site, do 3 things in one. Go ahead and click the link right there, I believe. If some of you remember, this was the first version that I released last year, and this is the second, very much new and improved. And this right here, y'all ain't ready for that. This, look, more details next year. But yeah, they're here. So go and do your thing so I can continue to do mine. So let's go. Going back to the 2013-14 NBA season, the Sixers at the time were the joke of the NBA. And there was a point in time where they were at the very bottom of the barrel. I'm talking winning 10 games a year. Now, as y'all know, a lot of those L's that they were taking were planned, plotted, and done on purpose. They were not worried about that though. It was just a part of their big idea. Their idea that so many despised. Because of the manner that it was done in and because of the consumer, the fans of the organizations, they were taking major hits. They couldn't walk around repping their favorite organization with pride, because there has to be pride to be repped, and there was none. But regardless of what the naysayers say about this path, it without a doubt was effective. In fact, so effective that the NBA just recently had to implement a rule to stop teams from taking this path. The goal was to get life-changing talent through the draft, and you can't do that without being one of the worst record-wise in the NBA. They couldn't do that though without unloading talent. Unloading guys like Drew Holiday was needed to eventually land Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. All of this was possible thanks to their Lord and Savior Sam Hinkie. This man risked his job for this organization and this city. Now, Philly these last 3 years have undoubtedly been one of the most talented teams in the Eastern Conference. And since last year, I'd say they've been in serious championship contention. But ever since Kawhi Leonard hit one of the most iconic and demoralizing shots in league history, so many have begun to question whether or not a non-shooting PG who can dominate every single aspect of the game except for one can truly thrive and move as one cohesively on a championship run with a big who does a bulk of his dirty work around the rim. The talent individually, without a doubt, is never questioned, but their talent together definitely is. So that brings us to this point, a point in which several questions have to be asked and answered in the most honest and truthful way. Can a team built around Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons eventually win an NBA championship? Yeah, why not? I think so. But the even better question is whether or not you and I think that they will win a championship together, and I say hell no. So if not, then which out of the 2 stars should be sacrificed for the greater good of this organization? We'll get into that soon. So far during the Ben X Embiid era, there have been at least 3 different versions of the Sixers. The first version featured JJ Redick, Dario Saric, and Robert Covington. Many think that the second version of the Sixers was the best version, and it featured Jimmy Butler, JJ Redick, Tobias Harris, and the main characters Ben and Embiid. They went from that and that to having Josh Richardson, Al Horford, and Tobias Harris as their supporting crew now. They've changed so much over these last 3 years, and in just their second year of being in championship contention, they arguably damn near reached their peak already and had all the pieces needed to make it all work, but just received the greatest cock block of all time by just a couple bounces from the rim from a shot from Kawhi Leonard. If it wasn't for that, then hey, who knows, they may have been NBA champions already. The Sixers had so much flexibility and endless possibilities to create new opportunities these last 2 years. But with all the assets that they forked over in such a small period of time over the last 24 months, they've now put themselves in a less favorable position, a position that doesn't allow much breathing room or creativity for new moves to be made. They're stiff, and soon they may not have many other options to lean on. Now wait, just a few minutes ago I definitely did say that they could win a championship, but I don't think that they will. I just give them boys a slight chance just because of how talented they are. But just think about it, how many chances do you think it will take for them to figure out and realize that this duo, this tandem will just not work and fall into this cycle of mediocrity due to the lack of maximum use of their talents? Why not separate one of them now and obtain an overwhelming amount of assets back in order to greaten or heighten your chance of winning the championship? That right there is the truth that no Sixers fans or supporter or whatever you want to call them wants to hear. I'm blessed and happy that I'm not a Sixers fan, because this is a tough pill to swallow, one of the toughest pills in the league to swallow, because the guy that they made look to trade in a few years from now, just happened to not only be the first piece to fall, but also got the city and the people to fall in love with him. He's literally nicknamed after the movement that they've been on. It's cringe for show, but hey, people out there still call him the Process. And the Process, as in the making of this video, turns 26 years old in less than 2 months. So that means that the Philadelphia 76ers, worst case scenario, have Joel Embiid at his absolute peak for at least 5 to 6 years. Now they can process that. Damn, I just used that word like 4 times in the span of 15 seconds. I gotta switch it up. But anyways, they can take that in one of 2 ways. The first option is probably the more popular option, and that is to keep at it and continue to do what they do. Out of these next 6 years, they believe that they can hit the jackpot at least one of them and win that NBA championship. Or they could take a leap of faith and put 110% of their faith into their 6'10" point guard by the name of Ben Simmons and get as many assets as possible for what many view the best center in the NBA, who literally just stepped into his prime. They could seriously tax and wax so many teams out here for Joel Embiid. Now mind you, this was not supposed to be a trade video because I don't think that Philly's front office has that type of intellect yet to do such a thing. I believe that in 2 to 3 years is when they may actually be open to this. Definitely not now. But at this point in time, right now, Joel Embiid's trade value is at an all-time high. I can just sit here and visualize all the hungry peasants around the league throwing up the most outrageous, attractive, yet mouth-watering offers. Off the top of the dome, this was not written, my boy. Teams like the Washington Wizards could call him up and offer up Bradley Beal and Davis Bertans and whatever picks for Joel Embiid, and I'm pretty sure that the 76ers would be like, hell yes. This is just too easy. I'm too nice with it. I don't think anybody has the brain power to begin to think what Ben Simmons could do with such spacing. Imagine him being surrounded around guys like Bradley Beal, Josh Richardson, Tobias, Bertans, and Al Horford. That is for sure, without a doubt in my mind, a top 5 offensive team in the NBA. I trust that team way more than what they have in place right now, because then Ben Simmons would be unleashed. He can only be unleashed when the floor is spread. The pace has to be pushed for Ben since he's against shooting, and in my mind, it's almost clear as day that they should carry their offense and their future towards him. But hey, I'm not gonna act like that's not a risk. That is definitely a risk. Let's call a spade a spade. I know this. I just hope that you didn't forget. Back in 2016, when Ben Simmons was being scouted heavily as a prospect going into the draft, one of the most alarming concerns about him was the fact that he seemed to get bored of playing basketball and not play the game with any real passion. It looked like that a lot of the time last year on the court. And this summer, the man came out and admitted that himself. He said that he wasn't in tune with the game and he just wasn't in love with it. He had to go find it this summer.
And this summer, finding who I was as a player again, I kind of lost that last season to where I was just going through motions.
Do you feel comfortable with putting all your gems, all your eggs into one basket? That basket being Ben Simmons, who has had issues in the past with figuring out whether he likes to play basketball, loves to play basketball, or not.
You've got to be crazy.
I don't know about you and what type of organization you guys would like to run, but for me, that ain't happening over here. And to be honest, I don't know about this entire situation. I'm not a GM. I'm not an assistant GM. I'm just like you. The only difference between me and you is that I like to air out my basketball thoughts in video format. That's it. Many of you may agree with my theory in this video or disagree. And to be honest, I don't really care. The point of this video was to highlight the interesting situation over there in Philly and the situation that they might find themselves in just 2 to 3 years. And at the end of the day, only 1 to 2 things are bound to come into fruition. They either see Ben Simmons in this small sample size of a run that he's had and decide to move on from Joel for the greater good of their championship aspirations and put Ben, who's been averaging 21 points per game, 8 assists and 9 boards with 2 steals on 63% shooting from the field these last 7 games, and an offense catered to him so he can feast on the court and have people like me shut up on Twitter calling him Australian Evan Turner. And even those are all trolls. And by the way, you should follow me on Twitter if you haven't already, and also Instagram while you at it. Send me a DM. I want to talk to some of y'all. Now the second option is to run the risk of being viewed in the exact same light as the CP3, Blake Griffin, and DeAndre Jordan ran Los Angeles Clippers and be one of the most disappointing teams of all time if they don't win with Joel and Simmons. Now in this video, if you didn't realize this, I sort of focused on the 76ers being open to the idea of them trading Joel Embiid. I didn't mention them trading Ben Simmons, and I didn't mention that for a reason. Ben is obviously younger and much more durable than Embiid. The only thing that Ben lacks outside of a jump shot is motivation. And if they were to go ahead and trade this man out of the blue, then hey, that's all the motivation that he needed. Billy would have to sit there in their sorrow weeping while watching this man throw up a 20-point per game triple-double on other teams. It only makes sense to trade Joel Embiid because he is the more attractive asset and also the finished product out of the two. We're talking about arguably the best center in the NBA. Teams will sell their souls for someone like him. This is the end of the video though, man. I really do appreciate you for coming over here on my channel and seeing what I have to talk about today. That is extremely dope, you. And before you leave, I'm gonna need you to do quite a few things. I want you to go ahead and leave a like on this video as usual, comment under the video as usual, and also share this video with at least 4 of your friends. Go ahead and do that for me. And also, last request, go ahead and check out the last drop, the last release on my clothing site for the next few months. I'm taking a break, so I'm gonna leave with a bang, and this right here is my bang that I'm gonna leave. Go ahead and get you one, new and improved, stitched, quality, comfy, and also you'll pull some females with this too. How do I know? Because I've experienced it. But this is the end of the video, man. I really do appreciate you for everything and all that. And yeah, man, out of everything I said, I want you to make sure that you make your day great. But until then, I'll get right with you.
No way, remember back when I couldn't get a play, no home, I ain't have a place to stay, I got to work, made the surf, free the way, told my girl who'd ever thought.